Breaker Boo wall strat. This is a very complicated and advanced trick, so there's a chance that you might not be able to do this for quite a while after starting to practice it. And don't feel bad if that's the case, because this trick is very, very hard. That's something that will be figured out as you start to do it. So first, I'm going to show it off. I'm going to point out something that I like to call the 4 fundamentals of wall strat. And then we're going to do some things that could possibly go wrong while doing wall strat. So let me play it out first. Okay, so let's play that again. Okay, so here is what I like to call the 4 fundamentals of wall strat. Can I make these like bigger? Probably not. I don't really know. Like, so it says 100. I don't know. Anyways, these are the 4 fundamentals right here. Properly space out art pumps, don't move back too far, make sure the boo's face only goes into the wall, and move in a consistent rhythm. So there's a lot more things that goes into this, but these 4 things are the most important by far. Okay, so let's play this again. The first to start, this isn't part of the 4 fundamentals, but this is an optional strat if you decide to do it, which is Breaker Boo text skip. Basically, if you hold straight up left and pull out your vacuum instantly, you can pull it off from this part of the cloth and make it so that, see, I move Luigi directly into that corner. Then I hold straight down right and pull it off. Now, in a run, you would go up to the breaker switch at this point. But obviously, since the room's already lit, I just go straight over to the Breaker Boo. Now, what's important to note here is that this is actually slower than doing the topside strat. But the reason you don't do the topside strat is because if you do that, then there's a very high chance you're just going to pull off the cloth while you're doing Breaker Boo. But it is faster, and that's the disadvantage of doing the wall strat. However, the advantage is that it's way more consistent, or way more easily consistent, I should say. Alright, so a couple things to note before we start. First up is charge on the boo. So basically, you can get a charge on the boo if he's in a top barrel. So you see how, so the places he can spawn are the 2, I guess these are still barrels, and the table, and on the right he can spawn in any of these. Now he can charge from any of these positions. However, it's actually just all down to luck if he charges from any of these bottom barrels and any of these left objects. If he's in a top barrel, you'll notice that if you just wait for the boo to spawn, you'll notice how he spawns really low down. Now, because he spawns really low down, if you just stand to the right, have Luigi facing straight right next to the barrel, he will swing over to you instantly, and that's called a boo charge. Now, here I didn't do it, even though he spawned in a top barrel. I probably should have for the sake of the tutorial, but yeah. Alright, so we're going to go down to the fundamentals one by one. So, first is to properly space out your art pumps. So you'll notice here, in most circumstances for boos, you would normally want to pump on 10s. So if the boost starts at 150, you pump at 140, 130, and so on. So you'll notice here, I start pumping at 160, 165. My next pump's at well, yeah, more like 167, I'd say. 155. You'll notice, like, I don't even pump in the 120s. I'm pumping a lot slower, is basically what I'm saying. So I'm not exactly sure how slow. It's more down to feeling than paying attention to the boost health, because this is way harder than paying attention to the boost health. However, a good cue for pumping is the moment Luigi touches the table. So you'll notice on every single one of these pumps, I pump the moment Luigi touches the table while doing the drags. And I'll explain boo dragging in a second here. So, you'll see Luigi touches the table, I pump. Now another thing that's that's really important, is to properly space out your pumps. You don't want to just immediately flick back right and then back left and then pump. It's pump, right, left, pump. And that's properly spacing out your pumps. So second fundamental, don't move too far back. Now, here's the thing about moving too far back. If you move too far back, there's a good chance that the boo will double cackle. So you'll notice here that I move back until about here. So, this is probably the furthest I moved back. And you can see Luigi's vacuum, it isn't even really on the boo. Which is like, really, unfortunate. Because in most cases that would double cackle. But, basically, if you move too far back, the boo double cackles. If you don't move far enough, the boo will barely move, and the one cycle will be really hard. Not impossible, but way harder than it should be. So, really, you should move back till about here, a little bit farther back. Let me find a good one. So, like, that's really far. So, that was really good there. So, yeah, about here on this part of the floor, you want to stop. I wish I could get it in the right spot, but I don't actually know how to frame advance on this, so I can't really do that to show you. But that's really important. Third fundamental, make sure the boo's face only goes into the wall. So you might not understand, but let me explain. So basically, you'll notice here that when I'm boo dragging, there's like, the boo's not really going into the wall. So you don't actually want him to go into the wall. There are people who do it while he's actually going into the wall. So the boo will be like halfway into the wall when doing it. Don't want to do that. You want to make sure that only the boo's face goes into the wall, if any at all. There are a couple of pumps here where he doesn't even go into the wall. But you can see his body never enters any more than just his face into this wall. Because if he goes halfway into the wall, while you do get more HP off of him, he is much, much, much more likely to double cackle. And is also more likely that you don't even drag him at all when trying to drag him. So yeah, don't make sure that's not something you do. Next up is move in a consistent rhythm. So it may seem like properly space out your pumps, but the rhythm on this boo when doing wall strat is extremely important. If you notice by looking at my hand cam, you'll see that while I'm doing this boo, I do movements on both the control stick and the C stick. So when I hold right on the C stick, I hold down, if I hold right on the control stick, I hold down on the C stick. If I hold left on the control stick, I hold up on the C stick. So, you notice here, now this is very awkward to do. However, if you just kind of like go into any hallway that's lit or something and just do that, after about 5 minutes, you'll probably be able to do it with no problem. because it seems like moving it in two directions is like impossible to multitask, but it just becomes second nature after very minimum time doing it. And also, part of this rhythm is actually the pumping still. So, basically, you can see there's like a high pitched and low pitched part of the cackle. So it's like the first part is lower pitched than the second part. So you'll notice on the second part of that cackle where it's higher pitched, I start to move back and then back forward. So you want to keep the right and the left and down and up like as much of the same as you possibly can. So obviously it's impossible to make it so that he can it's impossible to make it so you do the exact same every time, but if you're doing it in a hallway, for example, and you're doing it in a rhythm with down up on the C stick, right left on the control stick, and pumping, if you're slowly going up with the vacuum or you're slowly going down with the vacuum, you're doing it wrong. If it's staying about the same, like maybe it goes a little bit lower, a little bit higher on one of them, you're doing it right. Like it's just a matter of keeping as consistent as you possibly can, because like if you don't keep it consistent, the boo's going to go too high and you're going to double cackle. So really, that's it. Just keep that consistent rhythm and you should be able to get it. Let me show it off one more time. God, my reach here is terrible. And there you go. So another thing, actually, one more thing. This boo is not going to stay in the exact same spot at all times. If he moves up or down along this axis, you just kind of got to react to it. There's nothing really else to it. But besides that, there's not much else I can say. If you have any questions, leave a comment down below. I didn't explain boo dragging too well in this tutorial because I'm making this with the assumption that you already know how to, because this is a pretty advanced trick. You should not be attempting this if you have like a I should probably do it like this. You should not be attempting this if you have like a 105 or something, but if you're like down to like a 58, 57, I say give this a go, because it's definitely worth it in the end. So I strongly recommend it.